Remember back in January when a story circulated about a murder involving a U.S. Border Patrol agent in Vermont? 44-year-old Border Patrol agent David Molland was killed in a shootout following a traffic stop in Coventry, Vermont, a small town about 20 miles from the Canadian border. But there's more to the story. Turns out this homicide was one in a string of 6 killings tied to, allegedly, a trans vegan cult called the Zizians. Molland had pulled over 2 members of this cult on Interstate 91, Teresa Youngblood and Felix Bockholt. Bockholt was also killed in the shootout. Youngblood was wounded and arrested. It feels like Harry Potter. She has pleaded not guilty to federal firearms charges. More on her later, but let's first address the obvious question. What is this cult? The Zizians are, bear with me here, a trans, or at least most of them are trans, vegan, AI cautious, anarchist cult. Many outlets are calling them a fringe group. That's putting it lightly. The cult follows this Jack LaSota guy who goes by Ziz. National Review's very own Abigail Anthony has been hot on the trail of the Zizian lore. She helped make a lot of this nonsense somewhat understandable so you and I can get in the mind of a Zizian. The leader of the Zizians, Jack LaSota, is a 34-year-old blogger from Berkeley, California. Oh, that's shocking. He's from Berkeley, California. LaSota, who again calls himself Ziz, moved to the San Francisco Bay Area after earning a computer science degree from the University of Alaska Fairbanks in 2013 and interning at NASA. Ziz is a self-identified trans woman who prefers female pronouns. He started his blog called Sinceriously in 2016. The AP describes the blog's contents as complex and sometimes rambling theories about technology, gender identity, and human cognition. I wonder if him and Luigi Mangione are friends. There's a lot of coding commentary, and there are posts about LaSota's own philosophy. Apparently, LaSota's personal philosophy began as rationalist, but after being rejected by other rationalists for his theory that the brain has 2 hemispheres, LaSota split off to do his own thing. His blog posts are filled with jargon such as masochistic epistemology and dichotomy leakage, whatever that means, and a lot of thought experiments and trolley problems. But let me try to explain the Zizian philosophy that's radicalized enough computer science geeks to murder people. Each person's mind has 2 cores, or hemispheres, which are basically 2 independent personalities. A hierarchy emerges. Double good is when both cores are good and both hemispheres have full control. Single good is when one core is good, each core can overpower the other. Double evil is when both cores are bad. If you're double evil, Ziz says,
just die.
An individual could access each core by a process Ziz calls debucketing. This is accomplished in part by unihemispheric sleep, a state in which only one half of the brain is asleep. All right, so that's part of what they think. Now, these murderers are also vegans. Ziz thought veganism was a moral imperative. In fact, the Zizian model of veganism was pretty extreme, deeming non-vegans flesh-eating monsters. But he considered it acceptable, I guess, to kill some humans who he deems disposable. Aside from the shootout on the Vermont freeway, it is believed that members of the Zizian cult may be responsible for the death of 5 others. Okay, now here's where it gets seriously wild. An obituary for Jack Amadeus LaSota was published in September of 2022 claiming Jack, aka Ziz, had died in a boating accident. This did not stop the Zizian cult. In November 2022, 3 Zizian associates, Leatham, Borhanian, and Suri Dow, were facing eviction from a trailer lot of sorts because they reportedly hadn't paid their rent in Vallejo for years. They called their landlord, Curtis Lind, to the property to examine a water leak. The 3 allegedly attack Lind, piercing a samurai sword through his chest. During the confrontation, Lind shoots 2 of his assailants, killing Borhanian. He lives, for now, but he loses his right eye. Now remember, Ziz is still dead. The following year, Rita and Richard Zajko are shot and killed in their home in Chester Heights, Pennsylvania. Their son, Michelle Zajko, is that right? Oh, I see. Let's just call him MJ. Police question MJ at his home in Vermont. Bear with me here. There's a connection, I promise. A few weeks later, police take MJ into custody while he's at a hotel in PA. He's released without charges, but LaSota, who was at the same hotel, was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct and obstructing the homicide investigation. He's supposed to be dead. This busts the narrative that Lasota, remember he's Ziz, is dead.
He's still alive!
So MJ had ties to the Zizian cult. Lasota is taken in and weirdly enough refuses to speak during the process or even open his eyes. Lasota is held on $50,000. It's quickly reduced to 10, and then he's out on bail by late June. Funny enough, this wasn't Lasota's first run-in with the law. Back in 2019, he and 3 other fellas protested a CFAR event that stands for the Center for Applied Rationality. You can't make this stuff up. They wore black hoods and Guy Fawkes masks. Law enforcement was tipped that they may have been armed, leading to a shelter-in-place situation until the suspects could be removed. Now back to these murders. Remember Lind, the landlord? He's attacked again in January of this year, and this time his assailant was successful. That makes 6. MJ's parents, Borhanian, Lind, Bachholt, and the Border Patrol agent. But who killed Lind? Late last month, FBI agents arrested Maximilian Snyder, charging him with murder with a motive to keep Lind silent. Lind would have provided key testimony in a trial set for April against his alleged 2019 attackers, as he was the only eyewitness. This Maximilian Snyder, wait for it, had applied for a marriage license last November to, ding ding ding, Teresa Youngblood. She's one of the cult members who was involved in that shooting with the Border Patrol agent and survived. It's all coming together.
Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
This past Sunday, police arrested Jack Lasota and MJ Zazko in Maryland, along with Daniel Arthur Blank, who had been reporting missing for 2 years. Ziz and MJ are being held without bond. Oof. We'll keep you updated as we get more information on the fate of the Zizian cult. Subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss out. In the meantime, be sure to catch our latest video on all of the waste that Elon Musk and the Doge team claim they have found. Click here.